What is going on, everyone? Happy Monday and welcome to the Deal Lab. I'm your host, Max Jimenez. Happy Monday. Brand new week, brand new opportunity to get started. If you fell short on your goals last week, today's the day, right? Hopefully, some of you guys did some prepping over the weekend. Usually, Sunday nights is, I do take Sunday nights and to prep and get ready for the week. So, extremely grateful for those of you that joined me all last week, right? For those of you that are brand new watching, let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from, where you're watching from, and that way I'll give you guys a shout out. We got Selena in the house. Says hello and great Monday to everybody that's on. But man, listen, happy Monday, everyone. I'm going to say it again. Look, first off, I need some housekeeping. Get some housekeeping things out of the way. Today's going to be a little bit of a shorter show because I do have to end the show today like around noon, so about 2 hours from now. We'll be on here for like 2 hours, but I do have an appointment that was already pre-scheduled at 12:30 my time, so I need to leave right around. I'm gonna end the show like right around 12. However, we'll get through it. We're gonna get through our scorecard and our performance playbook, and then we'll start making some calls right away, so that way you guys can get some value. But definitely, I wanted to get those housekeeping rules out of the way. Today is going to be a shorter show, but tomorrow we'll be back in full effect. We might even go 5 hours tomorrow. I don't know, but typically I like to go on Monday, Tuesdays. 4 hours at least, and then Thursdays and Fridays. Wednesdays are off. You guys know the schedule already. But if you're new to the show, listen. What do we do on the Deal Lab? Exactly what it's named, right? The Deal Lab. We call sellers, negotiate deals, and get them under contract. Now, the only difference, what I do here is I also show you my process. If you haven't watched any of the previous lives, I highly recommend go back and watch them. I mean, I've shown my CRM, I've shown my follow-up process, I've shown a lot of things. There's some live calls that you get to hear when I'm talking to like my disposition team and my campaign manager, like all these things you get to listen to. You have an insight of the day-to-day things. And so I'm excited about today. So let's get started right away. As you're joining me on the live, drop in the chat, say hello. You know what I mean? Drop in some fire emoji, some thumbs up, say I'm ready to attack this week. And then let me know, what results did you get last week? This is very important because you remember I said, for those of you guys that are going to follow along in this journey, because I don't know how long this journey is going to be. All I know is I'm gonna continue doing it until eventually I hit my goal, or until whenever whenever I can, right? So I'm not 100% sure. So those of you that join me continuously every day, I want you to drop in the chat. What results did you get last week? Did you have any wins? Did you have any? I'm gonna show you right now the performance playbook. So drop in the chat what results did you get last week? Did you get any contracts? Did you get any wins? I love to know that because it excites me. That's the one thing. Like, you can go on any YouTube channel and check out anyone making live calls or whatever the case may be. But if you're not taking action, again, I said this last week, remember? If you're not taking action, all you're really doing is entertaining yourself, watching, right? So it'd be cool to know, whether you got results or not. That's not the point. The point is, hey, I took action. Here's what I did. This is the results I got, or here's the results I didn't get that I was planning on getting, right? Because again, that's going to help, right? That's going to hold you accountable to be better this week. Remember, this is a new week and a new opportunity to do things a lot better. You should be improving. You should be improving every single week, right? Whether it's a small little adjustments, whether it's big adjustments, like you should be improving every single week. So as you guys are doing that, I am going to share my screen and I'm going to show you guys this. Like we do every Monday. You guys know every Monday I'm going to walk you through I call this a little mini Monday morning meeting, right? This is what you should be doing every single week, by the way. It doesn't matter if it's just you or you're with a team. So here's what I'm going to show you guys, okay? So here is here is the performance playbook for this for from the results from last week and what I'm showing you right now, right? Oh, here we go. So one of the things is that so as you can see, right, we're gonna today's Monday, April the 21st, right? Oh, that should be 21st, not 20th, not 21st. Okay, there we go. April 21st, right? And so, Jermaine, what's going on, brother? Good to see you on here. So, personal win, celebrated Easter with family and friends. Had a really good Easter. Obviously, that was good times. That was a personal win for me last week. Just focus right now, like not trying to go out there too much, not trying to do too many crazy things. But obviously, we got to celebrate Easter. Went to church and hung out with the family. And so says, I don't want to be, thank you, Derek. It says, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, brother, but your audio is in and out. I'm hearing about every other word. Okay, let me see. Let me see what's going on here. Hold on. That's interesting because all the settings that caused issues last time are off. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I mean all the settings that I literally had on the last time when we had this issue, they're all off. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay. How about now? Am I coming through clear? Can you guys hear me? Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Test. Are you guys able to hear me now? Am I coming in clear? Am I coming in clear, 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 clear? And it's weird because it's not like I can hear you clear. Okay, Jalen, I appreciate you. It's not like I have a $50 mic, by the way, and I'm not trying to show off or anything, but this is, it's not like I got a $20 mic here, so I want to make sure that the sound is coming through clear. So Jalen says clear. Derek said maybe me then. Yeah, bro, fix your sound, bro. Fix your sound. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So again, personal win. Celebrate Easter with family. And then let's see. Okay. I got another message. My son says that I sound good on the mic. So yeah, Derek. I'm just kidding, brother. Thank you though for always keeping a word out. So Tony, what's going on, brother? God bless you too, man. Good seeing you. Good seeing you, man. It's really good seeing you, bro. We gotta connect. Honestly, I haven't seen you in a while. All right. So personal win again. I want to get through this. Celebrated, Easter with family and went to church, lunch, all that good stuff. And we're launching our Bible study. A few of us are going to launch our Bible study starting this Wednesday. So I'm excited about that. Professional win. Obviously, we got 2 contracts, right? Shout out to my guy, Shane. My guy, Shane. If he's watching, Shane, drop in the chat if you're watching, bro. I'm going to give him a shout out. He's in South Carolina. And here's the power of networking, right? The power of network. I've known Shane for a very long time, and a lead came in from South Carolina, and so he's actually, I ended up talking to the seller. This was on Wednesday when I don't go live out of all the days, right? You guys didn't get to see that. I'm gonna start recording those though, because I think I should add those to like the videos, right? The video library. So reached out to my guy Shane, and that's he helped me. I ended up talking to the seller. I ended up negotiating the price, and then I ended up JVing the deal with him. Now I don't want to get into all the details how we're doing the deal yet, because I want to make sure that we get this deal to the finish line. So shout out to him. That was one, and then the second one I did get live, which was the gentleman in Alabama, which I got to call him today, by the way. I'm gonna call him. What I'm gonna do first today is I'm gonna go through and call and make sure that I touch base with all of with some of the leads and some of the follow-ups that I got before I end up calling the new leads, because those are more important. And remember, your follow-ups, your appointments, the ones you got under contract. Those are the ones that are more important than new leads coming in. Even though new leads you're supposed to call them right away and you're supposed to give them a shout no matter what. So shout out to Shane helping me getting that deal set up, and potentially we can get that one past the finish line. That's an actually decent deal. So, all right, let's get back to this. So then, all right. So then we got rate last week 1 to 10. I rate myself a 10, right? And the reason why is because I think we made all not think we made all the calls. We made we followed up with everyone. We made the offers to the ones that that needed the offers to be made. So I rate myself a 10. Look, even though I rate myself a 10, the reason why I do that, can I always improve? Yeah, absolutely. But not when I rate myself a 10, it's not saying there's no room for improvement. I just feel and I know from what I did good about, what happened last week, right? I think we attacked it really well. So, now did I hit my targets? No, fell short on the dials and maybe some conversations. But overall, felt really well. I think the dials, we need to step it up just a little bit. And so and again, and the dials are gonna be, we're gonna increase the dials. Now, here's what I'll say, and I already talked about this before. I'm not going to go through this whole the whole thing, right? But if you're having conversations, then don't worry too much about the dials. I already talked about this on a previous one of our previous lives, right? So if you're having, I'd rather have more talk time than more dials. That makes sense? So again, I'm not too worried about the dials, but I also want to make sure that I'm having a lot more conversations, okay? All right. What did I learn or experience? Always trust the process, right? 100% of the time. Always trust the process, because it's not the what, but the who that you're after. Remember that, right? That's what I learned, right? That's something, the big takeaway that I took last week. Always trust the process, no matter what, because it's not the what. Too many of us get caught up in the what. What should I say? What script should I be using? What should I be doing? It's who should I be talking to? Who do I need to find that provides my solution? And the only way you're going to be able to do that is by trusting the process. And for those of you guys that were that were on the live last week, you saw that, right? A lot of the calls were a little bit different based, but we got the results that we wanted based on trusting the process, right? So again, trust the process, because it's not the what, but the who that you're after. So that's very important to remember that. Now, I'm not saying that the what you're supposed to be saying is not as important, but sometimes you might be too focused on the what, and you might be talking to the wrong person. And if you don't trust the process, that's not going to let you to identify that, right? Tony said, clear to me. Derek said, yeah, that was me. All clear now. Boom. Let's go. All right. So again, trust the process, because it's not the what, but the who that you're after. This week's affirmation, right? I am a disciplined leader who shows up with purpose and finishes what I start. Boom. That's going to be the affirmations for this week. Okay. I am a disciplined leader who shows up with purpose and finishes what I start. I am built for impact, and my actions create change. Remember that. I'm built for impact, and I am built for impact, and my actions create change. And then the last I am statement, I am favored, focused, and fully committed to the mission God placed on my life. So that's just me. These are this week's affirmations for me. Right? You guys can create your own. I'm a believer in affirmations, but you also have to put the action behind it, right? That's why I said on my first one, I am a disciplined leader who shows up with purpose and finishes what I start. Okay. Behavior plan, action plan, right? What am I doing this week? Operating with laser focus, no excuses, no distractions, just execution, right? When it's time to execute, it's time to execute. This is why it's so important to understand, right? When you're focusing on prospecting, or you're focusing on your work, focus on your work. When you're focused on your personal time, focus on your personal time, right? That's why it's very important to have a calendar to be able to operate with with laser focus, right? You have to remember that. It's like, this is why it's so important to have a structure like this and a performance like this. And so that's going to be number one, is what am I doing this week? I'm operating with laser focus, no excuses, no distractions, just execution. That's the goal, right? Should always be the goal. How will I execute? Trusting my preparation and showing up with a relentless discipline and energy every single day, right? Now, there are going to be days where you're like, man, I don't know if I want to I don't know if I want to do this today. Absolutely. That happens to me. Look, that happens to me as well, right? But having the structure like this that I can go back and look at and I'm looking at this in the morning. Like I'm going through this. So it reminds me why I'm doing what I do, right? And not only that, in the morning I have where I spent 10 minutes writing in my in what the journal for the day, right? Like 3 things that I'm grateful for, all that stuff as well. But this right here helps me with what I'm doing now, right? Because we all go through the slumps. We all go through we all go through. I don't care who you are. At the end of the day, you could put up any facade you want. You can put up the best life that you think you're having on Instagram and on social media, but you're gonna go through slumps, right? So you got to have something to remind you of why you're doing what you do. And so this is a good reminder, right? How will I execute? Trusting my preparation first, right? Just like I had to prepare for this session of the show, right? The Deal Lab, and showing up with relentless discipline and energy every single day, right? Once I prepare, again, I don't want to repeat it, but the past system, this is what helps me to do this, okay? Who needs to be involved or communicated with? This is huge. Every seller who needs clarity, guidance, and a real solution. Remember that. Not somebody I'm trying to convince to sell me their property, right? Every seller who needs 1, clarity, 2, guidance, and 3, a real solution. But we can't do that if we don't trust the process, because it's not about what, but the who, right? And who needs to be involved or communicated with? Every seller who needs what? Clarity, guidance, or a real solution. That's very powerful right there, by the way, right? We forget about that, right? And then God, through daily reflection and prayer, to stay grounded in purpose. Remember, for me, it's very important. Like, that's probably the most important thing out of all of it, is staying grounded and staying in alignment with my purpose. Because if it doesn't serve me anymore, then I'm not gonna do it, right? And then the last thing that I have in my performance playbook is standards. What must happen no matter what? I show up sharp, I follow through, and I honor my word, period, right? So again, this week's standard, what must happen no matter what, is show up sharp, not just show up, right? Not just a body in a seat. Follow through, second, and then number 3, honor your word, period. Okay, so that's this week's standards, right? That I set myself for, and I want to be in alignment with that. It's very important for me to make sure that I am doing that every single week, right? Every single day, a matter of fact. But in this case, because this is a weekly thing, every single week. All right. Any questions on that? Any feedback? Any takeaways? Who's prepared like this? Drop a thumbs up and a fire emoji if you're prepared like this, or say, hey, I need help, or I need to work on that. That's fine too. Realizing that you need to work on that is the first step to correcting it, right? So my guy Derek, appreciate you, bro. He's on fire, right? Like he prepares like this. So that's amazing. I love it. Who else? Come on, guys. Drop some fire emojis, some thumbs up. Who else is prepared like this and ready to attack the week and the day, as a matter of fact? You see, this is the most boring stuff, right? A lot of people look at this and say, well, that's not, again, like I shared my story, right? When I was in Sandler training, right? And so I was like, what the heck am I doing here? It's been 8 weeks. Like, I haven't learned anything, right? This is kind of that stuff here. But here, it is the most important stuff. Like, it is the most important stuff. So Selena says, I need to work on it. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I encourage you to, it doesn't have to be, look, if you're just starting off and you can't make it this, like, you saw, right? Like, I have 3 affirmations. You don't need to have 3 affirmations. You can have 1, right? I have, a lot of things in here, but if you want, you can. It's up to you. But I'm saying, start somewhere, right? Start somewhere to start changing what you're doing now. Derek says, now that was fire. I need to work on it. Okay. Well, I mean, but you're doing some of it. I'm pretty sure, Derek, because I know you personally. You're doing some of this stuff, but we can always work on it and get better. So drop in the chat if you're doing something like this, or if you're just starting your week off. It's okay, right? Selena, she was being very transparent. She needs to work on it. Who else needs to work on it? Like, that's okay if you need to. There's nothing wrong with that. But as long as you recognize it and you take action towards getting better, okay? All right, here we go. So now we're gonna look at the scorecard while you guys are dropping some of this, some of the answers on the chat there. Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up really quick so you guys can take a look at that. So I'm gonna remove that and then share that. Okay. So as you guys can see, right? I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. There we go. So last week, okay, this is the totals for the week. So last week, that's why I said my dials and my conversations are short. Now we're trending in the right direction because the previous week we had 160, right? And then last week, or the week before the last week, we had 160, and now we're at 177 dials. So we're increasing that, right? This is the trend is good. We obviously want to hit what we want to hit, right? Conversations, we were only at 8. The previous week before last, and then last week we were at 11. So conversations are picking up, right? And so you guys already shared with you guys what's a conversation and all this is all here. Talk time went tremendously up. Like we doubled our talk time almost compared to the other week. Now that could also be because of the remember the first week we only did 3 days, right? And the second week we did 4 days. So that could be because of the extra day, but that's a nice trend, right? We're trending up. This is very important to look at this. Hot prospects, we went from 7 to 6. So I'm not, we're okay, but I don't want to start going backwards, right? We have to watch that. Appointments completed, we went from 3 to 5, which means anytime someone asked us to call them back, at the time I ended up calling them back. Offers made were pretty equal. I went through to check like all the offers made, and remember, for me personally, some people just want to count some people just want to count like the hard offers that are going to go on a contract as offers made. I actually want to also count the offer ranges and the anchor, right? Because I think it's important to understand, and this is where the debate starts, right? Okay, well, that's not an offer though. Well, technically it is, right? Because you're getting the seller, 1, to react, 2, potentially could commit, right? And number 3, anytime you drop any offer, it doesn't matter if it's going to go on contract or it doesn't matter if it's some type of like reactional anchor. For sellers, that's your offer, right? That's your number. And they'll start to negotiate based on that, right? So the reason why I like to count those is because I've already laid like the foundation and the start of the negotiations, right? And that can help me, right? That because they're going to start to give me their number, their information. They're going to start to do different things that are going to cause for us to do some type of agreement. So I like to keep account of that, because if I'm not doing enough of that, it means that I'm just talking, right? I'm not getting them to react. I'm not getting a commitment. I'm not dropping a reactive anchor. I'm not dropping a commitment anchor. And then I'm definitely not going to be dropping a hard offer that's going to go on paper, right? So that's why I like to keep track of that, right? Because I like to see, okay, well, it looks like we made 15 offers that week, but 15 offers, let's just say, right? You made that many offers and you got 0 contracts and 0 signed contracts. Like, there's a problem there, right? And so as you can see, we got 6 of those. We send out 3 contracts. So one of them was the Alabama. I just explained that to you, the Alabama individual. The second one was the one that I'm doing with my buddy Shane. And then the third one is, we got 2. Sorry, I messed that up. We got 2. We send out 3 contracts. Sorry, this is contract sent. So we send out 3. We send out to the Alabama buyer, and then we send it out to the deal that I negotiated, and I'm working with my guy Shane, and then we send the attorney the option agreement, but only 2 got signed. Okay, only 2 got signed. So this is how we're tracking it, right? So out of the 6 offers that we made, 3 turned into contracts, and then 2 ended up getting executed, right? But what doesn't mean that we don't have this one pending still, right? Like we can get that today for for the most part. So it's important. This is why it's important to track this, right? If you're not tracking this, then how are you supposed to get better, right? But you see the combination. You see the combination of the performance, right? The performance playbook, setting yourself up for the week, evaluating last week, and then obviously looking at your performance in real time, right? Like this is what tends to, when I'm calling, why does it matter? When I'm calling, right? When I'm making dials, especially for the rest of the week, because I only look at this on the live here today, right? I only look at this with you guys, but I go back, right? And I go back and I start filling out each day. As you can see, right, there's different days here, right? So today's the 21st. So today I'll mark all my results, kind of like what I did here, right? So there's the daily results there. So it gives me perspective, right? It gives me perspective of where I'm at versus the goal, right? And so that way I need to know if I get by the end of tomorrow and I'm like, man, I don't have any conversations, I don't have any offers, then I know that I might need to step it up these 3 days, right? Or man, I've had 20 conversations and I got 0 offers and 0 contracts. Like that's terrible, right? Like that would be, again, this is why it's so important for the scorecard. Okay. So combination with the performance playbook and the scorecard, it helps you it helps you keep you accountable when it comes to, doing that. All right. So we looked at that. Last few things is housekeeping rules for those of you that jumped on late. Today's show is going to be extremely short. I have a doctor's appointment, 12:30 my time, so I gotta get out of here no later than 12:15. Try to end the show around 12, but if I'm on a phone call, I gotta get out of here by at least 12:15. So today's show is going to be a little bit short, unfortunately. But tomorrow we'll be back again. We'll be back attacking the phones, getting on the calls, and might even do 5 hours tomorrow. We'll see. Lock in and do about 5 hours tomorrow. So let's go ahead and focus on what we can get done today. And then any questions? Come on, we got a few of you guys on here. Any questions? By the way, make sure you hit the like button on here. We got a few of you watching, and we got a total of one. We got 2 likes only on this video. Like, let's step up the likes. Let's share this with someone. And if you have any questions about anything I talked about today, or any feedback, your thoughts, are you doing this? It looks like, we only have 1 or 2 people who are really committed to, maybe 3 people who are really committed to making this work, which is fine. Again, when it comes to these things, like holding yourself accountable, keeping yourself organized, understanding where you're in the process, you lose the masses, right? That's just inedible, right? Always chasing the hype, always chasing the always chasing the next shiny object, but never stopping to really hold themselves accountable and doing the work, right? The real work that gives you success, which is fine. I've seen this happen time and time again, and that's why majority of people are not where they're at or where they need to be, right? And that's always been the case. Like, that's nothing new. But in this market, I'm going to tell you, if you don't do anything like this, you're going to struggle, right? If you don't work on your skill, or you don't work on your tool set, like understanding different types of strategies and things like that, you're gonna struggle. And it's just, I highly recommend, and it's something that I'm gonna continue saying. I know I went on a tangent on Friday talking about this, but I think that it's very important that I remind every single one of you guys that that's the only way you get to success. It's the only way you get to the goals that you are trying to hit, right? So okay. So let's go ahead and let's see, who do we have first that we're gonna dial. So I'm gonna close these windows out. All right, let's see. So I'm pulling up the leads to see who do we got first to call. All right, we got a few new leads. Let me get this set up and organize. If you guys have any questions while I'm doing this, feel free to answer them. Or, sorry, ask them, not answer them. By the way, for those of you that are watching and that have been watching, watching now, we're on our 8th episode. By the way, that's crazy. What's been like one change you've done in your prospecting and in your daily talking to sellers? What has been one thing that you've changed? Being on the lives with me. Like what is one thing that you've changed so far when you're approaching like talking to sellers, negotiations, or analyzing deals, things like that? Like I love to hear that feedback to see what you guys have changed when it comes to your approach based on this being on the lives with me. What is one thing that you've changed that's helping you now? All right, here we go. All right, Derek said trying to be more assertive. I love that, bro. I think a lot of people need to work on that, honestly. And it's a very it's not an easy thing to do, by the way. I think that's because again, it's a fine line between being assertive and being aggressive, right? So you have to really understand how to navigate that line of assertiveness and being aggressive with the sellers. And it's not an easy thing to do, as you can tell. Like in a way that something that'll help you with that as well, Derek. I think understanding where don't don't have the fear of educating the seller on the truth, right? So think about it that way, right? Don't have fear in educating the seller on the truth, even if it means that they might not like it, right? And I think that's the problem where most people fall short because they do fear. And I'm not saying that you fall short on that part, but majority of people that are afraid to be assertive with the seller usually fall in that spectrum of having the fear of them, right, not liking what you're telling them, right? And sometimes you have to do that in order for two things, right? One is to really make them understand how the process works because they don't do this like you guys do, right? And then two, get them out of that way of thinking, right? There's a certain way that they think that they're thinking when it comes to the process, right? And so being assertive is just being comfortable with telling the seller the truth, right, about how things work and then sometimes you might have to say, hey, you're wrong about that. And it's okay because if you have built enough rapport, right? Or let's forget about that. Even if you haven't built enough rapport, that then if you treat that as a pattern interrupt, right, it's going to help you to for them to say, wow, okay, well, Derek's a little bit different. Nobody's ever told me that, right? Like, wow, I've never heard that before. Or but be okay with somebody not liking by being assertive in a way where you're sharing the truth, where you know it needs to be done that way. Because what happens is we tend to skirt around it, and then we run into problems later down the road, right? The biggest problem I've seen is when you get to the close. That's where you need to be a little more assertive, right? When it comes to, hey, let me think about it, or just give me your offer, or just tell me what you're gonna do. Like, no, we're not doing that. The only way this will work, and then yada yada yada, right? Get into the spill, but it's really that's a way that can help you to work on that, right? Is being okay with letting sellers know the truth about one, the process, how you work, and then letting them know how wrong they are, or not in those words, right? You're wrong about that. Like, don't say that, but instilling while you're saying it, be confident about it, and know that that what you're saying is true, right? Based on your experience, based on the situations that you dealt with, and so you assert yourself in that scenario where you become an authoritative or authoritative figure, right? And then also you become the expert. That's the way you approach being assertive, is by inserting yourself as an expert, authority figure, right? You know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, and then being okay with letting the seller know the truth about certain processes and the way certain things work, even if they don't like it. And that's the most uncomfortable part of the whole scenario there, right? Hopefully that helps, Derek. Okay. All right. So let's call. Boom. Let's go. Okay. So I need to first. I need to call Antonio.
3 4 4 1 3 0 4 5 6 is not available.
Hey, Antonio, it's Max. Give me a call when you have a chance. I wanted to talk to you about getting an update on the pictures for the property over at County Road. I'll just wait for your call and see if you got those pictures for me. If not, shoot me a text. Thanks. All right. So he owes me pictures, so I need to call him first. And then we got, let's see, who else do we got here? Selena Carter says, I would have to say my tone when talking to the seller, not being pushy, but being honest about the property. Let's see, not being pushy, but being honest about the property. I would say my tone. Yeah, that's just that goes back to mirroring. Selena, that'll help out a lot. Is mirroring will help you out in that with that, right? Is understanding who's on the other line, right? What type of prospect do you have? And so what tends to happen is, you know, if you don't learn to mirror individuals, right, in regards to how they speak, how they sound, their energy, because you can sense all those three. Well, you can hear how they speak, all right, and their tonality, pitch, and voice inflection, all this stuff. You have to start practicing on that, right? And the way you start practicing on that with mirroring is really first just start repeating words, right? At the end, okay, whatever it is that they tell you, repeat like the last word, the last phrase. Just repeat it back to them and try to repeat it almost in an identical way that they said it. Sometimes it's gonna feel weird, and it's gonna be like, man, I feel like I'm mocking. I feel like I'm just, parroting them or mocking them. You're not. You're parroting them, right? You're parroting what they're saying. If you don't want to start with longer phrases, start with words, right? Like if you say, hey, I'm looking to sell my property in 30 days. 30 days, right? So then you start, and then what happens is you start to learn how to talk to people. You start to learn how to talk to different people from different personality types, right? And also, I think, I don't know how long you've been doing this. I don't know if you're newer or not. Experience does help a little bit when you start talking more and more sellers. That's why it's important, even if when you're starting out, if you are newer, even if you don't have somebody that's like motivated on the phone, it's time to practice, right? Practice with those individuals to go farther and farther in the conversation. So don't focus so much on your tone. The only time you should be focusing on your tone is when is in the beginning of the phone call, because you have no idea who's on the other line, right? You don't know personality type. You don't know what their voice sounds. You don't know what their tonality is going to sound. So that's where you have to control. I don't want to say control. That's where you need to orchestrate the call. So when they do answer, and it's like, hello, Selena. Like, it needs to be you, assertive, right? It needs to be you, firm tonality. So it's because that's a pattern interrupt. They know that lets them know that you're calling them. That lets them know that you have their information, or some way, somehow there's been a relationship established in order for you to talk to them in that way, right? But as soon as you start hearing what's coming back, right, on the other line, this is why also using your active listening skills are so important, because then it's going to give you perspective of the way you should approach the call. And I don't know if you've listened, but I've been, I navigate, right? My voice fluctuates, my tonality gets high, my speed, right? My speed of the way I talk either goes fast or slow, depending on who I'm talking to. I am never the same way on every single phone call, right? And you start by mirroring, which is really, really helpful with that. And then that way you can relate when you want to be honest about the property, or when you want to be honest about an offer. When you deliver it, you're delivering it in their style where they can comprehend, where they feel comfortable about it. Because if you don't, and you're like just talking to somebody who's older, right? A grandma, grandpa, whatever the case may be, like if you were talking to a younger, like your friends hanging out, all this stuff, then you're going to lose them. Regardless how honest you want to be, you're going to lose them, right? And so it's very important to work on your mirroring and your tonality to match their tonality, right? And that's going to help you with that in order to be very transparent. All right, let's go. Actually, let me send this guy a text. All right, send him a text message, and then let's get back to dialing. All right, let's go. Let's see. It's like stuck or something.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice.
Call again.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. Is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hello, Lisa. It's Max. I was calling about your property over at West Greenway Road because... Boom. Okay, so that is going to be my first attempt. to attempted contact. It's a Phoenix lead too. Let's go. I want to talk to her. Anytime I see a Phoenix lead, I get excited about it. All right, who do we got here? Okay, so I already called her. Let's see.
Nine.
Hello, this is Max. Hello, is this the world?
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 6234187.
What?
Hello, this is Max.
So weird. She ended up calling me back, and then I couldn't pick up. That's really crazy. Jennifer, let's see.
9195.
Crazy stuff going on today, man. It's definitely a Monday.
Nine one nine four 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 five eight.
Okay, so then let's see. her.
Hello.
Hello, Dominic.
Yeah.
Hey, Dominic, it's Max. I was calling you because we got your inquiry on our website about selling that property over at Avalon Avenue.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow through on that information and just ask you a few questions, see if we can qualify the property for an offer.
Yeah. I already have a couple offers on it. My thing is I'm looking to get rid of this ASAP. Um, this through the online questionnaire, right? I sent you.
Yeah, correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So there's a squatter situation. Happens to be my uncle in the house.
Okay.
And there is a open permit, roof permit that was pulled. It was my mother's property. She passed away.
Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that.
2005. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I have those two situations. One company already did a title search, and I'm at the point where I want to wash my hands of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to move on. So I'm looking for somebody. If I have two offers right now
Sure.
that are willing to take the squatter
Mm-hmm.
situation, the open permit, and move ahead with the full purchase. Unfortunately, those two offers are drastically different. So they're not even in the same ballpark,
Okay.
okay? And which is raising my suspicion to say, like, well, how is one guy at this number and the other guy's at this number with the same stipulations and the same, basically the same, everything's the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my request and, and the only other request that I had that I wanted to try to fulfill was if there's any of her, pictures or anything like that I could have time to recover them.
Yeah.
After the sale, after the eviction process is over.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another stipulation. That's it. I
Okay.
mean, and so if that's something that you want to crunch the numbers on, it's a 2-bedroom, smaller house,
Mm-hmm.
wood frame. Roof was done, I think, in 2005. That's what this permit is.
Okay.
Air conditioner is done about 5 years ago.
Okay.
One bath. Has a front porch. Has a kitchen, small dinette area, eat. Living room, like I said, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. And that's it. Unless you have other questions.
I have a few questions, but before I get to those, I do notice that the property you have it listed on the market as well, from what I'm seeing.
Well, what happened was, so one of the brokers, evidently, when they first came in, they made me an offer.
Yeah.
And I don't know, do you guys buy or are you guys just wholesalers?
So we're that's one of the things we're very transparent with everyone we talk to. We're a full real estate solutions company. So basically, what all that means is that we wholesale, we list on the MLS, we fix and flip, and then also buy and hold. So it just depends on the property and the location, right? And I think that's why you're getting a big disparity. That's what I was going to tell you in your conversation about the disparity and the gap in the offers. They might not be telling you the truth and their intentions. One guy could be a wholesaler, another person could be somebody that's going to do a buy and hold, right? Because usually somebody that does a buy and hold can pay a lot more because they're going to keep the property. Fix and flipper or a wholesaler needs to pay a lot less, right? Because that's the way we look at any property we're analyzing, and the way we execute our exit strategy is based on location and the property,
Mhm.
right? So we're very
Mhm.
transparent with our sellers, yeah, on the way we're gonna,
That's what
proceed.
happened. So
Yeah.
the company that came up, with the first on the search when I first originally did this, because I was getting like 10, 15 calls a day on this property.
Yeah, I can only
You're
imagine.
getting
Yeah.
them from, you're getting, basically from everywhere, from China, India, out west,
Pakistan.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just got frustrated, and I was like, you know what, the squatter situation's aggravating me.
Hmm.
And I have other things that I have to tend to, and
Yeah.
this is, the money I'm going to lose is not worth, it's worth me having my peace of mind at this point, rather than having, squeezing every dime out of this.
Sure.
So the first guy that I ended up going with was, evidently they took it and they listed it, which was the first
Without
thing
you
that
telling
kind
you,
of upset me. Huh?
without them telling you that they were gonna list it.
Yeah, they never told me.
Wow.
So what happened was,
Incredible.
it came to my attention because people actually called me
Oh yeah.
from the neighborhood,
Right.
called me directly, and I'm like, "What do you mean? It's not listed." And then they were like, "Yeah, it's definitely listed." And then I called them and I said, "You guys listed this house already? You didn't even, we don't even have a deal.
Yeah.
Like, we were in contract, but oh no, that's just something that we do. Hopefully we can sell it. So I was like, oh, okay, I see what it is. It's a wholesale. They're gonna put it out there, see if they make quick money, and then they're gonna complete the contract with me, pay me when their end is paid.
Mhm.
Which, okay, it happens, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got another guy that's been after it for a while, and his number was less,
Mm-hmm.
but he told me straight out, basically, listen, I have to give you less because there's a squatter situation, and I don't know if he's going to destroy the house. I don't know anything. So if you want to get out of this within like 10 days, 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pay you up front, and we're just going to assume all of the problems and assume the worst. So we're buying basically the land,
Mm-hmm.
Anticipating that this guy's going to destroy the house.
Yeah.
Which we don't know that he's going to. It's anticipating something.
Right.
So I reached out to you guys. I looked up organically through
Mhm.
the internet, and then I found you guys. So you were the only one I sent the other night to. So
Yeah.
I don't want to have a million people doing this. I want to try to get a good ratio, and then
Of course.
come up with. And so that is right now, that is kind of like my requirement. I just don't want to. They literally wasted a month of my time, and then told me Friday that they couldn't. Something happened with the squatter situation, which I know is bullshit.
Yeah.
They lowballed me, so they came back and they dropped the price.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, all right.
So let me guess. You're getting was their offers like around 50,000?
No. So right now, my original was 177, then it came down to 143, and my other one is 120. 120, something like that. 120, 500, something like ridiculous.
I mean, those are all great offers because it's listed on the market for 155. So
yeah,
but
it's on 155. So they just contacted me Friday.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend just passed, and they dropped it because originally it was up at 198. I think that's when I called them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they dropped it, and they dropped it. I think it dropped like twice maybe already.
Let me see. Oh
So
yeah, they started at 195. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what happened was they wasted so much time. Whatever they tried to do.
Well, they didn't know what they were doing. First of all, because to be honest with you, this is bad because when you go on the market like this, because we do the same thing, but obviously explaining, like I said earlier, right? We explain the whole process, what's going to happen. But when there's a tenant like this, or not a tenant, but in this case a squatter, in order to sell this property, especially on the market, it's going to be almost impossible because you have to remember the people that are looking at it on the market are typically conventional people that are getting financed conventionally, which means the property has to be delivered vacant. So I don't know what their intention was listing it in the first place. I mean, were they just taking a shot in the dark and see if a cash offer person comes through?
I think so. I think that's what they were trying to wholesale to another investor. See if somebody could bite on it and then get this squatter situation, which didn't make sense. The whole explanation to me was,
Yeah, it's a terrible
you
way.
know, if it sounds not right, it's not right. You know, it's just
Yeah.
rule of thumb. You know,
Got it.
and
So
I mean,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Um, you
So
know,
are you
I
under
don't know
contract
how.
right now with them? Are you still legally under
No,
contract?
it ended because they came back and gave me a lower offer, so it closed that contract out.
And you got it. You got the cancellation in writing.
Yeah, they sent me a new contract to sign.
No, I know that. I understand that. And you can deny that, by the way. Like you can say no, but they still have the original contract, which is still in place. I don't know if they told you that or not.
No.
Yeah. So until you get so my recommendation would be to go back to them and say, hey, since you guys are not going to be able to do this, you already tried to reduce the price. I'm requesting, and you do that in an email, that you send an order of cancellation in writing, so we cancel the original agreement, right? Just because they send you,
Okay.
yeah, just because they send you one with the lower price and you don't accept it, they can still hold, like the other one still holds water in a way, right? In the legal sense, even
Okay.
though they try to reduce the price. I mean, you could fight all that if you want, but I think getting it in writing would be a lot better. And then now you can make your move in regards to, whether you sell to us or somebody else. That's really what needs to happen. Now the other thing is, I don't know how long ago you signed, and then you got to look at to see if it was a 30-day or 40-day or 90-day agreement. Because if it's already expired, then you don't really need a cancellation, and you can look at that on the contract as well.
Okay. Well, the way it was explained to me is that if they devalue the house for any reason or change any of the original agreement, that they would cancel it. So
And
I guess I'm gonna have to ask for that cancellation letter,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And unless they put that in writing in the original agreement, then yeah, then you can say, hey, you guys are already trying to change it. But if you don't have any of that in writing, it was verbally agreed upon. You know how it is with this kind of stuff. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how familiar you are,
Mm.
but with real estate, like it needs to be in writing. But you definitely need to get that cancellation first.
Mhm.
With that. Now, in regards to us, we definitely have experience buying, especially in Florida, experience buying, properties with tenants in place. In the past, we've had, situations like this where we inherit the tenants, or our financial partners inherit the tenants and they're good. Now, what I can tell you is it would definitely come at a significant discount, right? I don't know yet what I want to look to see what that would be, but I don't know if at the end of the day, if you can get that cancellation, it would be a little bit better, it would help us out. But we can definitely
Okay.
buy it with the tenants in place, you as is,
Okay.
and everything
Mhm.
else.
All right. So let me reach out to him and see if I can get that letter, and then that'll be my next step.
Okay. So while you're doing that, I will do some due diligence on this just to give you a more, so on our next call, I'll give you a little bit more of a solid idea where we would be at.
Mhm.
When should I call you back about this?
You can call me about like an hour,
Okay.
2 hours, whatever.
Okay, let me do this. Let me see, about an hour, you
Well,
said?
you can call me anytime. If tomorrow works better, then call me tomorrow.
Okay. I can call you today. I can do it. You're East Coast time, right? I'm Central East Coast
Yeah,
time.
I'm in New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, you're in New Jersey. Okay, so it's what, one
Mhm.
1 o'clock right now, your time, or two, right?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. When I call you 4 o'clock your time, would that work?
Yeah, like 4:30 would be
4:30
perfect.
would be
Actually,
better.
if you
Okay,
can.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna put it
All
on
right.
my calendar here to call you back at 4:30, and then call those guys and let them know. Or I would actually send an email, fire off an email requesting cancellation, and then give them a call,
Okay.
and then give them a call after that, because now you have
Okay.
two attempts of canceling the deal because they're trying to change it at the end.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Max.
Yeah,
And
of
I'll
course,
talk to you
Dominic.
soon.
I'm looking forward to hearing, and hopefully you get good news on that, because sometimes they try to
All
get
right.
tricky with that. So good luck, okay? I'll call you
I
later.
appreciate it.
No
Thank you.
problem. Bye. Holy smokes, man. Oh man. It's crazy what you guys, some not you guys that are watching the deal lab, but what some of these guys do. My goodness. And then you wonder why there's regulation, right? This is crazy. And then you wonder why there's regulation for our industry, because you got guys like this doing this kind of stuff, right? Listing properties on the market without without really walking the seller through the process. Like, that's crazy. Especially this seller, man. Like, this is a good seller. You just got to know how to talk to them and don't be a moron. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a prime example of the issue, right, that I have with our industry. No skills, no tool set, throwing stuff against the wall to see if it sticks. Like, it's incredible, man. Like, this is ridiculous, right? Like, and then we wonder why, again, we're having people look at our industry and in a certain way, right? And look, with this type of seller, you guys heard this seller, right? With this type of seller, like, there's no need for all those games, guys. Like, this is a good seller. This is a seller that if you had the skills and you had the skill set, if you had the skill set, you had the tool set, and you understood the game, this is a good seller. This is the dream seller. This is the seller that you would want to work with. But what happens is that, fast money and social media and this and that, like, this is what happens, right? Now this guy is not going to trust, and we'll see. I gain his trust just a little bit. Make them, help them, advise them, told them what to do, because it's not fair for the guy, dude, to be sitting here and these guys giving him the runaround, right? When he's got to get out of this property quick, right? Now, I was very transparent with him. I said, look, he asked me, are you a wholesaler? I told him, hey, we're a full real estate solutions company, right? We wholesale, we list it on the market, we'll flip. Just depends on the property, right? There's nothing wrong with being transparent with people. There's nothing wrong with being transparent with sellers. At the end of the day, there's somebody on the other line. Now, if the seller's not telling the truth, right, it's a whole different story. If you do your best to do what you got to do in order to get a deal done and help the sellers, and they're not telling you the truth, it's not your fault, right? It's their own fault. But in this case, I like this seller. Like, this is a truly genuine, motivated seller. Like, this is someone that's in a situation that's got motivation to sell because of what's happening with the property. And it's in a great market too. But then you got morons that don't know what they're doing, right? That put these sellers in these type of situations, and not only put the sellers in this type of situation, but put a black eye in our industry, right? Put a black eye in what we do. Our business is great, guys. Like, it changes lives. Unfortunately, you got those that will do what they do, and you heard it live here on the Deal Lab. Now, I'm going to call him later, talk to him a little bit, and I already told him, like, look, they got it listed for $195. Bro, that is crazy. Like, how are you going to list the property for $195 without telling him? And then you got a squatter in the house. Like, who's going to want the property that's approved conventionally? Can someone help me out here in the chat, please? Like, seriously. Who does that? Holy smokes. This has got to be a joke. Wow. Man, they had it listed for almost $200,000 retail value with a squatter. The property needs repairs, right? Like, they dropped the price from $195, okay? They dropped the price from $195 to $154 in a matter of 7 days. That is the stupidest thing ever. Listed $410 for $195. Dropped the price $418. Dropped the price to $154. In a matter of about 8 days, I would say less than 8 days because I don't count the 10th, right? In a matter of 8 days, that price dropped what? right? From 194 to 154. Come on, man. Like, that's crazy. Dang. I don't know. Anyways, that's insane, dude. That is ridiculous. Well, I'll call him back later. 4:30 his time would be 1:30 my time. I'll be done with my appointment. And I told him, hey, if you want us to buy it with the squatters, it's going to be at a significantly discount. But I'm not going to give you the runaround like these guys. I mean, dude, I'm looking at the pictures. Like, no one is going to pay $195 for this property. All the pictures are from the outside. All of them. Because they can't get inside. Oh my goodness, man. I don't mean to laugh at the situation, but what else am I supposed to do? Get angry about it when you got idiots that are doing this? Derek, help me out here, man. Like, I don't know what's going on here. I wish I could talk to these guys. I hope he gives me their numbers. I oh man. Wow. Anyways, let me go ahead and finish my notes here. Let me gain my composure back. Let me gain my composure back here because oh my god. What was I typing? What was I typing, Derek? I forgot. Oh my goodness. What in the world is going on here? You guys know I don't get too riled up for anything, right? I don't get too high. I don't get too low. But when it comes to things like this, like, it just bugs me the wrong way. Like, honestly, like, just, man, it really does. CISO says, "Hey Mac, can you turn on captions, brother? I wish I knew how to do that. I went into my settings, but I think that's more on YouTube than my actual than the actual live streaming that I'm using, the live streaming service. Yeah, because I'm not seeing it anywhere on here. So um, I might have to check. I can't do it now because I'm already live, but I'll definitely check when I for tomorrow. I'll check it, bro, because I don't know if it's you know what I mean. If it's I think it's just a YouTube thing. So he is truly motivated. Yeah, I mean he's a good seller. Like that is a really good seller. How many of you guys are? How does that not upset you guys that you struggle to get people on the phone, right? You know you work so hard to find someone you can help, right? And then you hear this story and it's like, whoa, like it's crazy, bro. I think I just recorded my reaction. I'm gonna have to post that on IG. My reaction to that. Damn, that's crazy, dude. Now, the only thing that it's good about this squatter situation is that um, the property's in Florida. If it was in California, eh. If it was anywhere else, well, this is in Florida, so am I tripping y'all, or is this? I mean, this is not like this is crazy, right? Like this whole situation. All right, so I set the call back with him. Got a hold of him first attempt. We're gonna move him to book appointment. Appointment book. Sorry, not book appointment. What am I saying? Yeah, this will be an interesting conversation when I talk to him later on today. So I'll try to record it if I can remember, because sometimes, obviously, depending on if I'm back at my computer. Dang, this is good. This is good. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see. All right, Kim Hall. Let's see.
A call has been forwarded to an automatic voice. Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 865591636 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hello, Kim. It's Max. I was calling about your property over at Cathedral Lane because. All right, so first attempt. Look at here. Look at here. All right, let's go back to opportunities. Hey guys, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Go get some water. Hello? Okay, how about now? Can you guys hear me now? Am I coming through okay now? Hello, 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 hello. Bueno, bueno, bueno. Where's she at? So that would be 5 o'clock my time. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I don't know what happened. About to book another appointment for 5 p.m. today. Why is it doing this? This is stupid. All right. So you're Jose, you're saying the sound is good, and then Selena says no sound. So now I'm confused. Okay, who do we got here next? Paul. Big Paul. Hmm. Okay, so we got 2 callbacks for today. Um, let's see. name don't sound right. Interesting. Hmm.
Hello.
Hello, is this Colt?
Yes, it is.
Hello, Colt. This is Max. I was calling you because you had spoken to one of my team members about selling your property over at East Grand Tenton.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was just following through on that information and had some, questions I wanted to ask in order to qualify the property for an offer. Is that fair?
No, we gotta go.
Dang. Hung up on me, man. Hung up on me, man. About to cry in the car. I'm about to cry in the car. About to call her back.
This is Colt. Leave your name and your number, and I'll give you a call back.
Colt is Max. We were just talking on the phone. I believe we got disconnected. Probably my phone ended up losing connection. I apologize about that. If you truly are interested in selling, give me a call back at your earliest convenience. Thanks. Boom. You see that? See that? I matched his tonality. He sounded like a cowboy, so I had to make it sound like a cowboy, right? I'm just kidding. That was interesting. First attempt. Let's see. Jose said, "Can you repeat the golden nuggets?" I will. I'll cover that tomorrow, Jose. I want to try to get a phone call in before I have to sign off. Remember, I'm cutting it short, so I apologize. I know what happened when I was talking earlier, but I will cover it. Remind me tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna be on without any interruption, so Call me. Let me know. Remind me tomorrow, and I'm going to go into detail on that for you. Okay. I'm just trying to get some people. I'm trying to get one more conversation in before I have to go. Man, it sucks, but I got to do it.
Hello?
Hello, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Max. I spoke to you last week.
Yeah, Max.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow through on our conversation, and obviously, I know we spoke a few times already. I don't want to keep bothering you. I was just calling you to ask you, should I just close the file?
Well, I haven't had time to do anything. Uh, what you sent me? Last I recall, you sent me an email on that contract or whatever, right? Or
Yeah, well, what I did was I had called you back, and I had presented to you a different way of being able to sell your property, and you asked me to email you the document, which I did. I sent it over to your email. It's a one-page document, and the last time we spoke, twice actually, you had mentioned that you were going to take a look at it.
okay. Well, I've been so tied up on stuff and so tired.
Okay.
I'm just let me look at it. What email address you sent to? JDINB.
Yeah, the name of the sender is Max. Correct.
Let me look at it. I've got to do one other thing on the computer before the day's over with. I'll
Okay.
look at it and see what it says. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. And that's why I was calling you, right? I don't want to feel like I'm bothering you. I just wanted to know if I should proceed or close the file.
I've just had so many things going that I have to take care of,
Yeah.
one right after another.
Well, let's get this property taken care of for you, so
I,
it's one less thing you got to worry about.
and what what you were going to do is try to sell it to somebody else. Is that what you were going to do? Or
Yeah. So when I called you back, I had mentioned, I said, hey, there's a way where you don't have to tie up the property, and we have close to 1 million contacts in our system database where other investors, right, they buy across the states, and but in order for me to do that, I need to have that one-page permission slip signed. It's not anything exclusive, or it doesn't lock up the property, because you still can find a buyer for it, but that just gives me the ability to present it to them in a legal way.
Okay. All right. Let me look at it. I'll give you.
All right, Jimmy. I'll trust your word, man. I appreciate you. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah, of course. Bye. Old Jimmy boy, you think he's gonna do it? I doubt it. I'm gonna close the file on him. Don't be afraid to close the file on sellers. I ain't chasing. like I have a file, right? Like I'm gonna close it up for him. You see, I don't know if you're still watching, Derek, but did you see that's in reality that's being assertive there, right? Being assertive with the seller and letting them know, like, I don't want to play these games anymore. Like, should I just close the file, move on, or are you really serious about selling? Like, I'm not trying to continue to follow. Like, I'm not like trying to beat a dead horse here. And if the horse can't run anymore, then it can't run. Like, why am I going to try to revive it? Sellers like that suck. They do, right? Like, in all reality, but here's the thing. I think the mindset needs to be like you're gonna get you're gonna get a lot more sellers like this than the first call, right? Alex, like so that's the mindset that we need to be in when yeah, it does suck, right? Like this type of seller, because they're just continuously dragging it on until a point where you say, hey, no more. Like we can't continue doing this. Either something needs to happen, or I'm just gonna move on, close the file, right? So uh, that's the mindset and the mind shift that we need to make as as we're doing this, is knowing that 7, 8, maybe even 9 out of 10 calls or sellers that you're dealing with are typically going to be within, that's like the norm, right? And so understanding that, so when you do get a good opportunity or you talk to a great seller like I did today earlier, it's like, man, awesome, right? Because this is, and these are the sellers, by the way, also, Alex, these are the sellers that are going to build your pipeline, right? These are the sellers that are gonna be in the pipeline, that it's like the right time, right? Boom, right? Like you call them. A lot of times they're not ready. A lot of times it's not a priority, but things happen so fast that something can happen in the transition, right? Of you talking to better sellers, that it's like, boom, they're there, they're ready to go. These are the sellers that you fill your pipeline up with, right? He's not a bad seller. He's got, he doesn't have motivation. He's not like he doesn't have like pain, right? Or he doesn't have distress, but there's gain for him because he's got to take that money out and then go out and do some other stuff because the way he bought this property. So he just has a situation. There's not a motivation there in order. There's not a pain motivation, right? It's more of a gain opportunity. And then if you know those two difference as well, it can help you to alleviate some of these sellers that, that try to kind of do this, right, with you. Understand, like, I get it. There's not motivation or pain motivation, or they're not in distress, but there's a gain opportunity for him at some point. And so what that means is that, you learn to navigate these sellers and these deals differently. And again, these are the ones that are going to fill up your pipeline, right? These are the ones that you can get back to. These are the ones that you continue to follow up with. And you guys, I've called this guy, like I've talked to this guy 3-4 times already. And so we'll see if today is the day where he looks at it, right? And if he doesn't, that's okay. I'll just put him over to, I'll just let the system drip him, Right now, I've just been following up with him manually because I want to talk to him. Like, you have it in your inbox, man. Like, let's get it. Like, let's get this property off your hands so it's something less you got to worry about. I don't know if you heard when I said that, right? Let's get this property off your hands so it's something less that you got to worry about, because you're saying you got a lot on your plate. So let's do this. Like, what are we waiting for, right? And so, yeah, sellers like this suck, but at the same time, I understand, right, the situation. I understand there's not like a distress situation going on, or the motivation. There's gain of opportunity if he sells it, right? But it's not like he's in distress in order to need to sell it. So this is the beautiful thing about understanding, identifying sellers, right? Is that you can navigate the pipeline that way, right? And so, yeah. Derek said, "Nah, I missed it, but we'll go back once you jump off." Okay, cool. Perfect. All right. As much as it pains me that I got to jump off because I wanted to continue, we got a little rhythm going on. I'm going to have to jump off, and I will, man, I will definitely be back tomorrow for sure. Same time, and there's nothing pending that I need to jump off early for. We might go a little longer than normal, so it gives me some time to really organize the pipeline and get things going. But yeah, we had a little rhythm going. We had some good conversation. I got 2 follow-ups that I need to make later today. One with the guy that you guys heard, and then another one lead that just texted me. So I'll give you guys an update on both of those to see, what was the outcome on both of those, and then we'll definitely touch base tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. Arizona time. So let's bring the questions, bring the comments, and I will see. Thank you guys for joining me. For those of you that stayed on the whole time, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being on here with me. I really appreciate every single one of you. So I will see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Arizona time, and tomorrow we'll definitely be on for the full scheduled program. So today I just had an appointment that I need to attend. So I will see you guys tomorrow. See you. Go close some deals. I want to hear some of you. I want to hear some stories of you guys closing deals. So go out there, talk to sellers, negotiate, and lock up some deals later.